Good time zone, and a happy birthday to all of those around the world. Day 3 of Retracing Our Steps. I had a funny thought after stream. About a certain meteor. What if it's the presence? I don't know. Just kind of popped in my head. It was a funny thought. We know the presence is out there now somewhere. I don't know why. I don't know what they do. So, you know, maybe. Maybe they would be doing something. The elf. Certainly seems like an elf, but I don't know why it would be an elf. The presence. Actually don't know why. Like, even now that we know more about the elves and also the origin of life on Terra, I actually don't know even more why the presence is like it is. It actually makes less sense now. It's not the presence. But that would be neat. Quabam. Let's get into this. I didn't teleport to Terra. Well, the priestess let it out now, so. It's somewhere on Terra. So what happened last time? Assassins tried to kill several of the leaders of the Tri-Clans. Arknights and Silverash. However, it was not Silverash in the car, it was actually just Cliffheart. They also tried to kill Premonix, who was saved by a hunter out in the wilds. The assassins, of course, were Victorians, but they had, done it as a false flag operation to try and sow chaos and dissent amongst the different clans. Blame was being put on the Browntails and the people who tried to kill the Saintus were dressed as Pale Roach. It seemed as though that Ratatos maybe was working with the Victorians and even sets up another assassination attempt on Arknights, but seemed to have actually made it a trap for the Victorians themselves, and the Victorians soldiers are all captured. But then Ratatos seems to blow up herself. She may or may not be dead. But either way, she is out of the picture and her sister is now matriarch of the Browntails. It does, however, seem that the Victorians are not actually working alone, not just with potentially Ratatos, but seems actually that the Vinebead court has been compromised. And it was, after all, the Vinebeat court who delivered the messages to the clan leaders for the meeting that would put them in the opportunity to be attacked. And the Vinebeat court knew where the Saintis would be, and the Vinebeat court now wants to take over authority on the Victorian prisoners for some reason. In fact, they're trying to kind of usurp authority from the Saintis while she is out on the pilgrimage. However, she's not out on the pilgrimage anymore. She's actually snuck back to the temple. Where she happens to meet Astogene, who also has snuck into the temple, because Astogene, back at the research lab, has been trying to figure out what happened to Carolyn, and eventually discovers that a meteorite or some sort of extraterrestrial object fell from the sky, somehow got through the star pod. I'm not sure how that's possible, but I guess it's a thing. The hole might still be open, unconfirmed. And is what disrupted the Oranginium energy field around Yerrig, which has up until this point prevented Yerrig from achieving the ability to produce catastrophes. But now that the energy field has been disrupted, that is why they had their first catastrophes. An interesting theory, pretty sound. Has a lot of implications. In fact, she didn't say that Rhinelab actually knows about these energy fields, but have not been able to replicate them, so that's pretty neat. But now Asjanine, Praminix, and Joanna, that's her name, the Huntress, are now all heading towards the impact site, which is the Yerrig Kajimersh joint mine. We did see a brief glimpse of Carolyn, finally, whom is hiding out somewhere with a kidnapped Munch. And it seems Carolyn's actually is indeed a Victorian spy. She was originally spying on Columbia. But she's also seems to be very interested in Farenmutz. And kind of is actually here, I guess, to learn about Yarragander. Also, Sayuris discovered a communicator in Ratados's belongings that had a message. That piqued her interest, so we'll see what happens with that. That was a thing. Right at the end. But other than that, I think that's all that's happened last time. So let's get into it. Emerald. That's my favorite Pokemon version. I actually never played Emerald. I only played Sapphire. Patience is the hunter's virtue. It will help you find a gap, an opportunity, a beginning, and the dawn of friendship. Ah, finally a Trilby Asher. How much longer? Patience, please, Mr. Bellingham. As you know, the Duke has been very busy lately, having to receive several guests each day. You should remember, sir, the last time I came here. Ugh. So, I'd like to ask, how has she been lately? Fairly pleasant for the most part. After all, the negotiations with the Kajimersians have been nearing completion over the past few days. As soon as he finishes speaking, a dejected gentleman strides past the Trilby Asher. The Trilby Asher recognizes him as Derek, head of the press office. Perhaps due to the recent wave of bad publicity, he wipes the sweat off his brow with trembling hands. Well, I suspect today is not one such day. Is that Bellingham outside? Let him in first. Don't keep him waiting. The butler nods and the Trilby Asher hesitates for a moment before stepping into the room. Seated in the middle is the Duke of Castor, with a young noble standing at her side. I have another question. What kind of person is this Kajimersian representative you met? He is a merchant, Your Grace. Kajimers. Tell him that, should he agree to my terms, I'm willing to lift some of the embargoes on industrial equipment. For them, there are many ways to obtain cheap minerals, and Yerrig is hardly irreplaceable. I will let him know that only Victoria can satisfy his technological and equipment needs, especially when it comes to oranginium. No. You are a member of House Castor. These minutiae are best left for servants to convey, whereas we should always leave ourselves room to maneuver. The Kajimersians know little about the resources we command, so why not let them exercise their imagination? Do you understand? No worries, I guarantee that he will side with us. Forever honor your commitments. If you cannot, don't make them in the first place. That is the true of the Kajimersian representative. And even more so for me. You may leave. Yes, my apologies, Your Grace. Once again, you have to see me disciplining these good-for-nothing whelps. Belly. Wow, Belly. Thank you, Your Grace, for the trust you have placed in me. Let's not waste time on small talk. I trust you saw the gentleman who left earlier, yes? If I'm not mistaken, that was a certain Derek. If I'm not mistaken, that was a certain Derek, the man in charge of news and public opinion. He should have reported to me that the negative press, be it over about Yerrig or Victoria, was under control. He was instead quite profuse with his complaints, going on and on about how he couldn't do it, and that it would take too long to communicate with the film crew, that he wanted to trouble me to watch the footage they sent back. If he feels like he hasn't been given enough time, he should have known that my patience has its limits too. So, do you have any good news for me, Belly? Yes, Your Grace. Our informant at the Rhine Observatory provided very accurate intel. Indeed, there is something highly suspicious about the mining site in which Yerig is working with Kazimierz. Following the clues she provided, my men successfully infiltrated the site and obtained these data tables. Tables? I wanted to say tablets, but it's table. Just point out the highlights. Please look at this section and the subsequent section on the next page. The former represents the mine's daily output, whereas the latter represents the purchase volume or export volume. Finally, the last page is the mine's financial report. Pay particular attention to the net profitability figure. For example, in the last 2 months, the difference is massive. The mining site has been operating at a loss, and the greater the extraction, the greater the loss. Exactly. We even found this mine import record. Please take a look. A large mining site needs to separately import the very same minerals. Therefore, I believe this confirms the earlier theory. This so-called joint mining project is actually Carlin Trade's arsenal in disguise. And this is the trump card that has been flipped over. Sitting right there in a mining site shared jointly with a foreign company. Which is why our agents, including myself, initially overlooked this area. It is hard to imagine that anyone could stomach such a risk. Placing a piece in what normally would be a blind spot is very much his style. However, you're still one move behind, Belly. As difficult as it is to admit, when Wellington made his move, it became imperative for us to strengthen ourselves. Given these circumstances, Yerig is a valuable asset. I will not accept a loss or a lose-lose scenario. We must ensure that NCUD's military preparations do not catch us flat-footed. Only by knowing what his trump card actually is can we properly plan against Yerig in advance. Your Grace, if you wish to confront the Duke of Wellington, bringing Yerig under the control of House Castor, as well as seizing their manpower and resources, is of utmost priority. I personally believe that we should conduct a comprehensive survey of this mining site. I believe the Kazimierzians will accept your term, and it's only a matter of time until they withdraw from Yerig. As soon as we take control of this mining area, I will send our envoys there immediately. Why not act before the paperwork is officially signed? We cannot give Carlin Trade the time to cover their tracks. So, under the buyer's name, look for another excuse through the Vine Bead Court. Even if they suspect that something is amiss with the Kazimierzians, a hasty retreat would inevitably leave traces behind. The Vine Bead Court is ultimately an expendable asset. Due to your previous botched job, there is no way Insudes would not have his eye on them. Then we'll squeeze out every last drop of value from the court before Insudes makes his move. Is that truly the missing step, Belly? Be more economical and think it through some more. The current Great Elder has consistently turned down my goodwill, and given the inability to mobilize the full strength of the court, we must be more careful when assessing the feasibility of this plan. Yet, Your Grace, he did not stop us from infiltrating the lower and middle ranks either. Perhaps this is the Vine Bead Court's persistent arrogance, ripe for us to take advantage. Perhaps the allure of overthrowing Insudes will prove to be a gift too irresistible for Yerig's religious figures. Okay, so the new guy is not in on it, I guess, which is what I thought. But they are still, the court has still been infiltrated. So, do you intend to... You are free to move the pawns inside the court as you please, but you must find out exactly what is going on within the mining site. Let us wait to see how Insudes reacts. He might just give us another reason to get involved in Yerig. Yes, Your Grace. Alright, I'd like you to do me a favor. Derek left some odds and ends behind. Go ahead and take them with you. When it comes to our dealings with foreign nations, we always have some journalist friends who make too much noise. I can set up the camera right here. Thank you. Let's get started if you're ready. Venerable Great Elder Odso, thank you so much for agreeing with this interview. I sincerely hope you're willing to answer a few of my questions as well as those of the countless others who want to know more about Yerrig. First, I'd like to ask about something that many around Yerrig have been curious about recently. The people of Yerrig broadly believe that the Yerrigander protects this land. In your opinion, how would you explain this catastrophe? Does this mean that Yerrig has lost its divine protection?
That is correct. Yerrigander indeed watches over this land. However, she is not a tyrant who imposes harsh decrees, but rather a patient mentor and a guiding hand. Her protection of Yerrig is not as straightforward as one, or as many would imagine. Her knowledge of the true way of life runs deep, and so she taught the people of Yerrig how to live in this land filled with calamity and devoid of thought. Thus, the people of Yerrig came to have a soul, and the many calamities no longer disturbed them.
Even so, I am still very curious as to how a god who neither reveals its true form nor has performed any miracles as proof of its divinity can earn a people's faith. This belief seems to lack any grounding in evidence.
Oh, guest from afar, I can see that you hide your arrogance behind polite words. You try to reduce Yerrig's beliefs into a most basic form of logic, which you then criticize in an attempt to extol your own correctness and wisdom.
Please believe me, that was not my intent.
It's fine, don't worry. Then may I ask you a question first? In your opinion, what kind of principles do the Victorians who observe no religion follow in their lives?
Actually, okay, that actually confirms that, yeah, Victoria doesn't have a religion. They've never outright said it, but it seemed that's always been the case of like, yeah, it doesn't seem like most countries do, but it's never really been said. And it's always kind of been also kind of maybe implied that Laterano's religion is kind of just everyone's religion, maybe, but less so than you see it in Laterano. But no, they just don't have a religion. Although there are Laterano monasteries, like, or in churches in other countries, but not because that's the predominant belief. Unless you're in Iberia. That's a simple answer. Victoria has her own laws.
Who drafted these laws? And who granted them the authority to do so?
If you're asking about the legitimacy of the Victorian regime, we need only look back at history to answer that question. The land was originally occupied by Dracos until about 300 years ago when Oslins from Sargon launched a rebellion in Victoria, ultimately seizing control of the country.
Then I take it that your view makes right. Oslins are strong and therefore righteous, Dracos are weak and therefore unjust. This so-called justice shifts as easy as the balance of power in war. By the same logic, the devils of Kazdil, you can't call them that, the devils of Kazdil should feel no shame or remorse about invading the lands of other countries. Their only sin being that they fell one step short of ultimate victory.
That is a patently absurd conclusion.
Of course. I doubt that any regime would hinge its legitimacy upon violence.
Except for that Ursus place. And I guess Bolivar too, kind of.
Because they know all too well that violence will inevitably be undone by greater violence. Nothing can remain young and mighty forever, neither people nor governments. Therefore, they must become compassionate, and hope that the same compassion will be afforded to them when they are weak. So let us return to that question. Why do the legal principles we take for granted, or rather, the virtues prevalent across the different civilizations sharing this land exist in the first place? To where should we direct our questions? Do we possess the sublimity inherent to being human? Are our lives innately meaningful?
Apologies, but I'm not well versed in these subjects of philosophical speculation. May I ask, what is the point of these questions that seem so far removed from our daily lives?
You mentioned life. In fact, as long as you seriously reflect upon your own life, you will very easily find that there is nobody on this great land who is entirely devoid of faith. People always choose to place their faith in something, be it money, violence, knowledge, fame, philanthropy, or pleasure. If a person generally believes that nothing is inherently true, then he will quickly find himself akin to a puppet with its strings cut, unable to move at all.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, unless by inherent truth you can include, I guess, science. Which itself is not always inherently true. Trust in the Seaborn. No. Be gone.
The followers of Yaragander seek the eternal solace of the mind by questioning ourselves and seeking out the traces of her existence.
An interesting thought indeed. This seems quite different from the common perceptions floating around Yerrig.
Please tell me, what was your perception of Yerrig before you witnessed a human tragedy caused by Orangenium?
Or by catastrophe, which is caused by Orangenium.
The last pure land on Terra, a sanctuary protected by the gods, a land of simple and kind, poor but happy people.
You're quite well versed in these touristy catchphrases.
It was your people who discovered and abused the power of Orangenium, which ruined everything. You know that countless people drowned beneath the waves you stirred. And it is this guilt that led you people to weave your illusions into the fantasy of Yerrig, a paradise where one can reap the benefits of Orangenium, with none of the costs. You imagine purity because you know filth, innocence because you know deception, magnanimity because you know opportunism, piety because you know nihilism. Now then, how can you see the farmers who've left their homeland behind, the craftsmen whose unfinished goods pile up like a mountain, and the hunters who return empty-handed. You might even deny the existence of these people so that you may feel at ease when you swallow the blood and sweat of us savages to purify your souls.
I do like this guy. And as an investigative journalist, it is my responsibility to spread the truth, and I am hardly the only Victorian who cares about the truth regarding Yerrig.
Young lady, you promised to spread the truth about Yerrig across the lands, yet your lenses are pointed at those who are more lost, more deserving of pity. Do you think we should call this the truth, or simply a fable?
I must admit, your questions have left me chagrined. Be it my colleagues or myself, it is hard to set down our morbid curiosity as onlookers.
All you need to know is that Yerrig's belongings are not playthings sitting behind the glass of a Victorian shop. Yerrig does not, and will not need anyone's pity or charity. Yerrig will always be the people of Yerrigander, the home of the Yerrig people.
Alright, I think I'm convinced now. So in your opinion, this catastrophe will not shake the people's faith in Yerrigander?
To be honest, Yerrig's faith is undergoing a serious test. I cannot deny that this catastrophe has sown the seeds of darkness in the hearts of the people, causing them to gradually turn to violence and selfishness, abandoning many of their former virtues. But was all of this due to a catastrophe? A seed cannot germinate without the proper soil. The current turmoil in Yerrig only proves that people's beliefs are already changed, long before the catastrophe itself. And the cause of all of this is Insidies.
Are you referring to Mr. Insidies Silverash, the chairman of Carlin Trade?
For thousands of years, Yerrig has been spared from catastrophe by our adherence to the order laid down by our god. However, the Vinebead Court is not the rigidly conservative institution that outsiders think. Even in the era before power was restored to the three clans, records in the Vinebead Court's Hall of Writings confirm that the court was involved in, and sometimes even instrumental to, the vast majority of changes across Yerrig's history. However, we simply remind ourselves constantly of the wisdom and virtues she taught us, ensuring that each step we take does not become counterproductive. And this order formed through the Vinebead Court has proven its reliability and stability over the long years. Yet when you don your skis and snowboards and zoom down our snow-capped peaks, how often do you turn back to look at those who lack the condition and ability to keep up? No matter how much you might want to turn back and wait, the falling snow will obstruct your view until the exhilaration carried upon the wind engulfs your every thought.
You believe that Yerrig's current reforms are too radical.
Therefore, if anyone can be held responsible for the current state of Yerrig, it can only be Insidies.
So, as an elder of the Vinebead Court, are you planning to make any changes in response to the situation?
No, I won't lightly say that I'll be making any changes myself. I simply believe that for thousands of years, the enemies of Yerrigander have all vanished into the snow drifts of history.
The registration documents are all here. Please make sure this envelope makes its way to Mr. Edelweiss of Carlin Trade. Don't worry, we're established by Carlin Trade and know Mr. Edelweiss very well. There won't be any mistakes. Glad to hear it. Elena turns her head somewhat nervously. After the catastrophe, the people of Yerrick have largely preferred to remain at home, with one exception, the market. Hundreds of people crowd together in residential areas, temples, stores, and street stalls, the sorrow on their faces matching their gloomy weather. At the end of the market, Joanna is gesturing to her with her hands, her mouth open as if beckoning for her to come quickly. Be right there. Gotta keep a low profile. Yelena lowers her head and turns her face away, hurrying away against the flow of pedestrians. Countless Yerrick people brush past her, while other Rhinelab employees squeeze into the crowd and follow the current. Why should we choose the most crowded place? People are forced together here in order to barter for necessities or to receive relief supplies. That they suppress their fears, a fact worn on their sleeves, many of them showing up in not but simple local attire. Carolyn instinctively pulls her coat in tighter, walking past the men and women until she stops at the entrance to the quiet little temple. She leans against the doorframe, its paint worn and peeling, and hesitantly turns her head to look around, searching for someone else who also has an appointment. Damn it. The bell already rang. All I wanted was to find a place to continue my research. Why am I stuck doing this kind of work? She pounds the wall next to her angrily, until suddenly a hoarse question reaches her ears.
Young lady, why do you treat the property of Yerrigander in such a manner?
I'm sorry, how should I make amends?
There's no need for that. Sit down now and come with me. Should it be agreeable to you, please rest in the courtyard. I shall explain the profundity of the scriptures to you, so as to soothe your restless heart.
The old man unlocks the temple gate, and Carolyn, now spelled with an E, and not okay, pauses apprehensively to look around before stepping inside. The devotee then follows her in and shuts the gate. You're the one they mentioned, the one who can bring me out. Choosing to meet up here is incredibly risky, is it not?
The people are undoubtedly going to be anxious in the aftermath of a catastrophe. Wandering around in sparsely populated open areas is only going to invite more suspicion. Let's get down to business. We don't have time to waste. Have you acquired all the intel?
I have, but it's not meant for you. The Duke of Castor's men promised that once they took over the mine, I would be able to leave Yerrick via the internal railway. I don't know what they told you, but now is the time for you to do your part.
The mine is currently in a handover period. Once the Victorians have finished their inspection, I will take you there to meet them. I ask for your great patience, madam. It is a precious virtue indeed.
I hope this is the last time. Did you hear that? Hear what? Sounded a bit like thunder. How strange. Seemed to come from the mountains. And also, what's this? The tip of my nose feels all chilly. That's weird. Why is it snowing again? We're in the middle of the snowy season, and what's so strange about that? No, that can't be. Even at this time of year, there are always signs before it starts snowing. Sniff, sniff. The girl lifts her head, her expression suddenly turning serious. It's snowing, but it doesn't smell like snow. It's very strange. Don't the snow normally have a smell? An old man once said that the snow only loses its scent when there's something truly terrible about to happen. Is Yaragander warning us again? Divine will is less important than how heavy the snowfall is going to be and how it will threaten our safety. As for the scent of snow you mentioned, the air temperature and humidity change before it snows, which may give off the illusion of a peculiar scent. But to treat this as some way of gauging the weather, or even as a divination of some sort as well, I frankly don't think it makes any sense. No, the scent of snow is the scent of snow, not some other smell. Yaragander has given hunters a keen sense of smell and eyes that can see in the dark. On the snowfields, we know much more than you do. Okay then, I don't mean to question your personal experience, but I still have to act according to my own experience. As Elena speaks, she sets up the observation equipment and begins to carefully record the data. The girl pouts discontentedly, looking at the device with a distinctively old-fashioned earache look. That lump of metal of yours has been beeping this entire time, and it's heavy too. We would have gotten here sooner, without having to lug it around. But it's how we can make sure that every step we take is safe and secure. After a catastrophe, we must be extremely cautious inside Oranginium zones. A sudden gust of wind rises, causing Elena to stumble, but Joanna catches her from behind just in the nick of time. Thanks. Huh. The chilly snowflake-laced wind sweeps over them, and all of their noise ceases save for the whistling wind and its sharp, biting cold. How did the temperature drop so sharply all of a sudden? Is this... I know of a deserted village up ahead. Let's head over there and find a house to shelter in. Inya, who has been lagging behind the group because she was flipping through her notebook, steps in between the two. She stretches her palms out, her fingertips only slightly reddened from the cold. Come, take my hand. The fresh snow is too slippery and the terrain here is steep as well. It would be terrible if someone slipped and fell here. You're both hesitating. Do you not want to hold my hands? Enya, I mean, Your Holiness, No, thank you. One hand extends forward. I'm just doing this for Her Holiness. Joanna turns her head away, but nevertheless places her hand within Enya's. Thankfully, the temple is in a much better state than the other buildings because there are still people who come by occasionally to do repairs. Three shake off the thick snow on their cloaks. They arrive at the village only briefly before the snow starts. Only briefly before the snow starts to come down heavily, fluttering down like feathers. Kyoto go on and rest. I'll see if the fireplace can still be lit. You can usually find a small wood shed behind the village temple. I'll go take a look. Need my help? I'm good. You didn't just say you were going to do the weather forecast. Just go do your thing. I've already set it up. The measuring device will automatically gather data from our surrounding area, so I can help you carry... I told you I'm good. Don't follow me. Before Elena can even stand up, Joanna already manages to feel out the small door behind the temple statue with practiced ease. The layout of any Yerrig monastery is more or less the same. The girl rushes out back, the door slams loudly behind her. Did I do something to upset her? Maybe just a little, but not that much. Don't worry about it. Joanna is a very kind girl. Even when she's grumpy, she still wants you to be warm. Just like not long ago, when she protected me from assassins even though she despises me. However, for many of Yerrig's villagers, your thoughts and words can hurt them, even if they are without malice. I'm sorry I was too rash. That's not your fault, nor is it the fault of Yerrig's people. If anything is at fault, perhaps it is simply your differences. Any sort of communication between people is about these differences. Even partners who work together in a lab sharing the same ideas and goals can still have disagreements. Which is why communication and understanding between people is so precious. Nina folds her cloak and puts it aside, pointing to a snowflake on it that has not yet melted. Oh, look at that. A snowflake? The people of Yerrig sometimes use snowflakes that have not melted upon stepping indoors as a form of divination. These unbroken branch-like snowflakes are a sign that our journey will be smooth. According to folklore, the snow is a messenger protected by Yerrigander, carrying important truths and omens. It can predict the harvest, the hunt, the craftsman's hammerfall, and even quarrels between friends and lovers. Some may say that this iconic tree-like hexagonal snowflake with well-defined branches is a sign of good fortune, but others just as easily see it within it a broken connection and an omen of disaster. And so, regardless of what happens, in the end, the fortune teller always has something to say. Worst case scenario, they always say the diviner you meet was just bad. The movement of the stars had already revealed the truth long ago and used that to defend their authority. You also seem quite knowledgeable about divination, Elena. You could say that I've had run-ins with them, due to family circumstances. In any case, most divination has nothing to do with revealing the truth. It's just a form of self-delusion and sophistry. A place where no people wish to go has no roads leading to it. If a problem does not exist, there will be no solution created to resolve it. Fate is a fickle thing, just as your science should acknowledge that there are many things on this land that cannot be controlled or predicted. On this great land, we are but tiny people trying to grasp a glimmer of the prophetic and the true. This is so different from the origins of scientific discovery. Knowledge is what makes people feel safe and allows them to face an unreasonably uncertain future. In a sense, coincidence and probability and fate are all the same concept. Fate falls on many, just as the snowflake has fallen on my cloak. I get it. Even placebos can be a vicious type of medicine. But I've also seen many things in modern Yerrig. In the past, I always tried to see such strong beliefs as a kind of cultural phenomenon, a ritual, a projection, a form of comfort-seeking. But what exactly are they to you people? She asks the question in a soft, subdued voice. The wind outside the window has already subsided significantly. Yerrig Saintus looks up at the statue of Yerrigander on the altar. Beneath a slab of stone engraved with messy markings, several brightly colored figurines sit side by side. They are exhibition goods produced around the time of the Lake Silbina Hertza ceremony. By the look of things, someone brought them to this village temple as an offering to the reclusive Yerrigander. The clerics of the Vinebead Court often describe Faith as walking into the darkness without a lamp, or leaping fearlessly into a silent ravine. Everyone always seems to yearn for her. Ascetics, devout believers, faithful followers of the commandments. Countless people endure innumerable hardships just to reach her side. But for me, she tries hard to recall, but the memories in her mind are now but struggling fragments jumping around like frames from a movie, shrouded in a dark haze. A strong emotion surges once more within Inya's heart. Trouble! Ioana suddenly rushes in with a gasp. Firewood in her arms, her cheeks flushed from running. I just saw it coming down the mountain. Lost the Victorian cards heading for the mine. Victorians? That mine is a joint operation with Kazimierz. What are they trying to do there? Have they already picked up our trail? Don't panic just yet. Regardless of what business they have at the mine, we have to hurry. Let's pack up our things and get out immediately. We need to be even more careful and discreet on the road ahead. Just a second, please. I need to pack up my instrument first and... Wait, how could this... What are you dawdling around for? Hurry up and pack it. Here, I'll help you. Wait, is this... This moderate catastrophe risk in here. Does it mean what I think it means? Catastrophe? Could there be another catastrophe brewing? Already?
I can only hope this mission won't prove to be a waste of time.
Great Horn Rule. Performs charge attacks and tries to push the units that block it. Can be interrupted by negative statuses. I guess these are all just animals, but that implies the little teddy bear things are animals?
The situation is crystal clear. Great minds think alike. Thy trampling of this hallowed ground shall beget bitter rue.
Hear her words.
Is that all you got? Standing by.
She cannot be sought. She cannot behold the power the mountain is pledged to me.
That animation's really cool, actually. A snowflake effect.
Standing by.
Make your decision. Thy trampling of this hallowed ground shall beget bitter rue. Great minds think alike.
I see now that that skill actually does AoE, technically. You know, it's hard. It's real hard getting an audience with you these days. In CIDs.
I'm truly sorry I was unable to attend the matriarch's funeral. Madam Cyrus, I am deeply saddened by what has befallen the Browntail clan. Please allow me to know. Please let me know if there is anything Clan Silverash can do to help.
Thanks, NCIDs. But that's not what I came here to discuss.
Your visit this time, Madam Cyrus, must be to give me a chance to earn your trust.
My sister once told me that you're the least trustworthy when you lower your head like this.
I wonder what your opinion of me, then.
You don't have to beat around the bush. I don't like it. My sister used to scold me for being impulsive, and for not always thinking things through before I speak or act. I wanted to prove to her that I didn't need to hide under her wing, that I could do something for the clan Browntail. But now, as new matriarch of the clan, there is no one left for me to prove anything to.
Oh, I understand how you feel. I also have 2 younger sisters.
And you think they're both smarter than me, huh? Both in Incia and the Saintis.
You think too little of yourself, Madam Cyrus. However, I do think they share your persistence and determination.
Is Incia okay? I heard she was in an accident.
Thank you for your concern. She is safe and sound and has already returned home.
You always keep that calm and composed demeanor. What I want to know is, these attacks on Yerrig, including what happened to my sister, did you know about them ahead of time?
So this is the real reason you decided to visit me today.
And CDs, my sister had been helping you this entire time, isn't that right? I wasn't totally in the dark about it, but it wasn't until her passing that I learned your plans for Victoria, Rylap, and what Monch has been investigating. There's too much I don't know anything about. Don't try to deny it. Don't lie to me, Insidies. You have to know the truth behind her murder.
If you truly believe I had a hand in the matriarch's death.
No, that's not what I mean. I don't know what Ratados was plotting with you, but I know for sure that whatever it was to protect Yerrig. So I will follow in her footsteps. Whatever Clan Browntail's affairs may be, I will take responsibility for them. Which is why I need you to tell me exactly what happened to her.
My apologies, Sir Incides, but they were determined to break in no matter what.
Huh?
To what do I owe the honor for you all to barge into my home like this?
So, Incides, why did Carlin Trade transfer all of its shares in the Yerrig Kazimierz mining joint operation to Victoria without authorization?
Where did this news come from?
It is an observable fact the mines have completely been taken over by the Victorians. Great Elder Odso believes that such actions by Carlin Trade constitute illegal collusion with a foreign power, and as such, the Vinebead Court has no choice but to exercise its authority to intervene. We require that you report to the court immediately to explain yourself.
If I understand this correctly, the Vinebead Court means to formally interrogate Clan Silverash.
The people of Yerrig are uneasy, though enough as it is. The last thing we want is to see this conflict escalate further. However, Sir Incides, as the head of the clan, if you still believe you bear responsibility for Yerrig, please go to the court with us to discuss the next steps.
Very well. I have no reason to refuse. However, if I'm to explain the situation, I will need some time to prepare the relevant documents. Please allow me that. Furthermore, I still have some things to discuss with Madame Cyrus, so I would like you to ask for your patience. Of course, Sir Enceades. Madame Cyrus, thank you for taking the time to look after Incia. I would like to formally invite you to be a guest of Clan Silver Ash. I would also like to thank you for your concern in person while Incia is present as well. What? It would have been more courteous to have sent the invitation to you in a formal capacity. But given the hasty nature of this matter, the best I can do is throw something together by hand. I do hope you'll forgive me. We look forward to your gracing us with your presence. Before his invitee can respond, Enceades picks up a pen and paper from the table, scribbles down a few lines, and hands the invitation over. Cyrus takes it. There is only an address on the piece of paper, hardly an invitation at all. Thank you for the invitation. I'll be there on time. To Mr. Edelweiss of Carlin Trade, I hope this letter finds you well. At the time you read this, I have yet to receive sitrep authorization from Rhinelab, so please take note. This letter does not in any capacity serve as an agreement or treaty between Rhinelab and Carlin Trade. Rather, it only represents my personal analysis of the recent phenomenon in Yerrig. My specimen comes from the sound waves collected by the observation station at 3:19 a.m. on December 7th, 1101. I can say for certain that at the time, an unidentified object fell from the sky onto Mount Carlin. A UFO? Though the chain of evidence definitely linking the phenomena is still missing, a catastrophe did in fact occur 32 hours later. I did not intend to establish a causal link between the two things. If this crash is a singular event in history, then so too is a catastrophe. What I am preparing to do is to confirm whether or not there is an empirical connection between these two events. Additionally, do forgive my frankness, but if the hypothesis that these two events are linked does bear out, the outcome for Yerrig is not optimistic. Whatever factor that has protected Yerrig from catastrophe over the millennia may no longer be effective, or at least in an unusable state. I would of course love to write this off as mere conjecture, but nevertheless, I also hope that Carlin Trade will be adequately mindful of the potential risks moving forward. Carolyn is an insider with more detailed information, has likely made similar Carolyn, an insider with more detailed information, has likely made similar inferences, but I am in the dark as to what her objectives are at this moment. I will strive to complete this research while maintaining an objective and rational perspective, and would greatly appreciate Carlin Trade's support in my efforts. Respectfully, Elena Urbica. I mean, hopefully if they remove the object, then the energy field could reform. And if not, once again, 1100 is a terrible century. Everything bad is just happening all the time. Come in. I was looking for you, Director. Take this letter over to Enceades, classified top secret. Yes, sir, right away. Any other news? Yes, the observation post previously dispatched to the mining site has sent back a sighting report. A convoy bearing Victorian markings is approaching the outskirts of the mine, but the specific origins are unknown. Matterhorn led his clansmen there ahead of time. He said that he would try to stall for as much time as possible and await your judgment. The Victorians have come sooner or later. Looks like we won't have to wait any longer. Prepare vehicles as soon as possible. Matterhorn may not be able to hold them off for long. Tell him to let the other party make the first move, and prioritize observation. I will arrive shortly. I'm warning you, don't get in our way. if you know what's good for you.
I am simply following orders. The area ahead is a restricted warehouse, and nobody is allowed to enter without Carlin Trade's permission.
Has no one informed you that House Casta has acquired all of Kajimir's rights to the site?
To the best of my knowledge, the handover process is still underway. We were only notified by Kajimir's yesterday.
Which is why we have to inspect all of the assets in advance. If you have any complaints, you can take them up with Her Grace the Duke. Now, listen to your betters and open the warehouse door post-haste. Finally, someone worth talking to. Mr. Gnosis Edelweiss of Carlin Trade.
It seems the introductions I prepared will be going to waste, good sir.
Of course, naturally. You also understand who I am representing here. Due to your mismanagement and the resultant of substantial financial losses, Her Grace the Duke has decided to dismiss some key employees of Carlin Trade employed at this site, including the former executive manager.
Kind of crazy that they can just, like... I guess Kajimir's can just sell... company authorization to another country? Even though it's a joint venture, you think you need both permissions? I don't know. Apparently not. To this I have no objection. I will cooperate fully during this handover process.
Excellent. Now then, Mr. Edelweiss, rather, please open the warehouse door.
However, on this point alone, I cannot comply. What Matterhorn said is true. There indeed are regulations pertaining to this confidential warehouse. I humbly ask for yours and Her Grace's understanding.
Based on the information I have, the security clearance level in this warehouse was raised just recently. What do you say to this, Mr. Edelweiss?
Allow me to explain. This warehouse is mainly used to store various kinds of industrial waste, but recently the purification system and negative pressure ventilation system both malfunctioned. We temporarily raised the security clearance level and strictly restricted access in the interim before professionals can handle the situation. I fully understand Her Grace's concern about the assets acquired, but for your safety I ask that this... Could I ask this inspection be postponed?
I accept the risks at hand. Just open the door.
All else aside, this is Yerrig's mine. Should pollutants leak, or any other dangerous situations arise, Yerrig does not rule out the right to intervene through administrative measures. Before you offer to take responsibility, I suggest you contact Her Grace the Duke once more. Good to see you again, Mr. Matterhorn. Pardon me, Father. I'm afraid I'll have to ask you to wait at the reception for now. I currently have business with our diplomatic guest. Mr. Edelweiss, I was expressly invited here by the Victorians. Since when has the Vinebead Court so concerned with temporal affairs? Today, both the clan leadership and the general public are dissatisfied with the way Carlin Trade has been engaging with Victoria. The Great Elder has summoned Serencides to an inquiry onto the matter. Perhaps you will also need to report to the court soon. Then, why would a cleric feel the need to accept an invitation to come here before that? I wish to ensure a smooth handover process and hope that Carlin Trade is willing to cooperate to the fullest extent. Please open the warehouse door, Mr. Edelweiss.
Given that power has been restored by the three clans, perhaps the Vinebeard Court would be more representative of Yarrig's administrative measures.
Matterhorn opened the door. The door slowly opens, and the Victorian ambassador is caught unaware by the dust that diffuses from within. He squints and fans the air in front of him with his hand. There is neither the smell of industrial waste nor the texture of oranginium dust. The ambassador's eyes gradually adjust to the vast, unobscured warehouse within, which is
nothing but scrap metal.
As I stated, there is nothing here but industrial waste. Please leave as soon as you've finished your inspection. Staying here for an extended period of time would be detrimental to your health.
Everyone stay put. I'm conducting the inspection myself.
As soon as he enters the warehouse, he feels the vast space around him dilating in all directions, the steel frame stretching straight to the ceiling, surrounded by scrap metal of all shapes and sizes. There is no way such a large warehouse is set up just to store these things. It's far too pretentious. He approaches the bottom of one of the shelves and reaches out to rummage through it with no particular aim in mind. The clanging of metal echoes through the warehouse.
Right, it's still half intact. I can still make out the insignia of Silver Ash's private army, the Shashgata.
It's been a while since I had to say that word. What was it again? Well, nothing actually comes up for pronunciation. Very well.
These were originally weapons and gear, not... Were these originally weapons and gear not properly disposed of after being thrown in the shredder?
An idea bubbles up, and he keeps looking elsewhere. Though Carlin Trade has been quite meticulous, a few clues are bound to leak through. Of this, he is certain. You know, I kind of was hoping that maybe it would be a UFO. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem to be the case.
replicas of Victoria's newest equipment, as well as large caliber naval gun parts. All failures, unable to break through the technical barrier.
The army designations, the insignias, many other terms in the Yeragi language. He quietly memorizes them all.
Sir, are you done yet? Yes, I am.
The ambassador returns to the group.
I've more or less seen what I need to see, Mr. Edelweiss. I will summarize the entire situation and faithfully report it to the Duke.
Sir, the internal railway in the mining site has been cleared, and you haven't had time to inspect it.
Does Victoria also need to use the internal railway? Yes, we've contacted a number of suppliers for quotas. Using the internal railway can significantly reduce transportation costs.
Father, is the Vine Bead Court aware of this? If you are so keen to get involved in diplomatic affairs, Cullen Trade hopes that you will also be willing to verify any business entities that wish to join. Gnosis' concern interrupts the thoughts of the Vine Bead Court envoy, who then looks away from the railway. That would require the Great Elder's input. I understand. By Yeragander, I ask that the Vine Bead Court not make things difficult for Enceodes. I will remain at the headquarters, awaiting your summons. Bye, Yeragander.
A satisfying battle. It brought palpitations even to my heart.
Incense and shadows. A secret in a haze, a stick of incense burned down to ash, a rumbling roar, 2 lovers, 3 children. I actually don't know what he was... like what the significance of that warehouse actually was.
So you finally come. And see it is.
Naturally, I would not dare refuse an invitation from the Vine Bead Court, Great Elder Odso.
If I remember correctly, it shouldn't take very long to get from the Silver Ash Domain to the Vinebead Court. To be summoned by the Vinebead Court is a matter of great importance, as I stand accused of improper dealings with Victoria. I had to make ample preparations to prove my innocence. Without further ado, Sir and Series, please come inside so that we may discuss this further. One moment, please.
A large convoy of vehicles pulls up in the center of the Vinebead Court.
Silver Ash, what is the meaning of this? Are you not investigating the ties between Carlin Trade and Victoria? I had someone compile all the documents related to the last decade of business dealings between Carlin Trade and Victoria. It's quite the voluminous collection, so much so that we had to fill several trucks. Great Elder, also, if it interests you, please take your time to read through it. Good. Very good. Unload everything, then tell your people to leave. I'm afraid I can't do that. What is the meaning of this? And there it is. It is true that as of late, Yerg has had to weather great turmoil. Undoubtedly, Victoria has been at the heart of many of these incidents. Indeed, our troops have discovered evidence of contact between the Vinebead Court and Victorian spies. Empty accusations, without proper proof. What right do you have to investigate the court? Investigate? I would never dream of such a thing. However, the Vinebead Court has accused me of colluding with Victoria, and so here I am. By my command, nobody is to leave the court today until the Great Elder and I reach a conclusion. Yes, sir. Now then, Great Elder also. We've never talked like this before. I've hardly ever seen you on my past visits to the court, let alone spoken with you. I've heard many clerics that you spent years in seclusion, studying the scriptures in the Hall of Writings and never concerning yourselves with temporal affairs. It seems you've also come to handle the affairs of the court with ease. The only thing I've done over the years is ensure that Yerg follows the path she ordained. Moreover, we stand at a critical juncture concerning our survival should the Vinebead Court stand by and watch you drag Yerg into the abyss, allowing Kazimierz, Victoria, or any other foreign power to devour us. You are not the king of Yerg and Ceres. Thank you for the admonition, Great Elder. If Yerg were to have a king, it would only be her. If there are diplomatic errors the Vinebead Court wishes to correct, the Carlin Trade will do our best to cooperate. However, there is one question that puzzles me, for which I seek your guidance. How exactly is the Vinebead Court negotiating with Victoria? Is it using all of the Yerg as a bargaining chip? Elder! We just took a look around. Silver Ash's troops have already blocked the way down the mountain. We will go check the back door and... The secret passage? I wouldn't bother with that, unless you've been keen on searching for Chagata. Ah. Bah, don't be alarmed. By Yeragander, I have no intention of attacking the court. Tell everyone outside to rest where they are. No one is to move without my order. Enceladus, you accuse the court of betraying Yerrick to Victoria. Where is the evidence of your claim? Please be patient, Great Elder. It will only take some time for the evidence to be delivered here. In other words, you came empty-handed yet still choose to resort to violence against us. You should know that the price is due for doing this. Head of Clan Silver Ash. Look down at the people beneath the mountain. Your elite troops might be able to block off the court. But you cannot fight all of Yerrig. I am willing to give you time, but if you cannot produce conclusive evidence before sundown, I'm afraid the reputation of Carlin Trade and even that of the entire Silver Ash name will be in tatters. You will become untouchable throughout the land of Yerrig. Indeed, I am, of course, well aware of the consequences of my actions. What I do know, however, is that it would mean for what it would mean for Yerrig if the Vinebead Court is found to be colluding with an enemy that assassinated leaders from the 3 clans, and was caught in the act of espionage. I will be with you to witness that moment, Elder. I know exactly what you're waiting for, but time is not on your side, Sir Enceladus.
Let us in. We are invited by the court to participate in the blessing ceremony, and Silverash's goons have no right to stop us. Throughout her illustrious career, the Black Knight was unshakable even by the most fearsome opponents. But now, looking down at the teeming crowds crammed onto the narrow mountain road, she feels utterly helpless for the first time. Why haven't we seen a single cleric here? What is Silverash trying to pull?
Please calm down, everyone. The Vinebead Court has encountered some extenuating circumstances, and Sir Enceladus is insisting with the investigation.
We came here on an invitation, and you're telling us that we are in extenuating circums? Now that we're here, cut the crap. Man squeezes through the crowd, but as soon as he takes a step forward, he is met with Degenbrecker's cold glare and has no choice but to retreat, muttering under his breath.
Sir Enceladus will issue an explanation to the public after things have settled down. Please I ask that you all return home for now. Ma'am, be careful.
I'm fine, Degenbrecker. I can stand on my own. We all trust you. You know that you're daughter of Yerrig and would never bring us harm. So can you tell us, this old woman, exactly what's happening with the Vinebead Court? Do you know about the whole thing? The vehicle winds its way along the mountain road. Outside the window, dense dark clouds are gathering, mingling. The window rolls down and a few snowflakes laced with unidentified impurities slide into the car before disappearing without a trace.
The signal's a little better now. According to our informant, Victoria and the people of the Vinebead Court have left the mining site and have not made any further moves. But given this weather, we can expect more heavy snow. It'll take a lot longer to get back to the headquarters than expected. Compared to that, this little hiccup can hardly be considered beyond our expectations. Are you referring to those Victorians from earlier? They got the intel they wanted, but so did we. I mean the Vinebead Court. The Vinebead Court, huh? The fact that they showed up here instead of calming the populace is rather strange indeed. It's evident that they were completely unprepared for the situation, and their deliberate attempts to hide their schemes are easily seen through. If some of them are willing to play cover-up for the Victorians, then it's only a matter of time until the mask comes off. It's nearly time. Turn back to the mining site. Are you trying to... The exit ways there are now open, making a good place to leave the country. Are you just... As you just heard, Encetes has already surrounded the court with his men. He has deliberately made a big show of things to alert the enemy. Those hiding in Yerrig will definitely be itching to seize the moment. Our undercover agent friend has been we've been tracking seems to have a particular fondness for this kind of stuff, and should be arriving in the vicinity soon. Moreover, I suspect she's not the only one either. Indeed, or instead of looking for her, we should just let her come to us. Gather everyone together and keep a close eye on the entrance to the mining site. Pay extra attention to the people who helped her escape. Well, you're on your way. The clergy throughout the city were already inviting people to come up the mountain for the ceremony. I wonder how long Deckenbecker can hold them back.
Well, she held back 2,000 trained soldiers, so...
The Vinebead Court stooped to these desperate measures, knowing I would not point my weapons at the people. It's true that I'm using them, as you did to Arktos and Atados during the Holy Hunt a few years ago. Perhaps I overestimated you, Sir Encetes. Even if you're hungry for power, you should be less obvious about it. Before you commit a grave error, I'm willing to announce to the public that you've come to the court to capture the Victorian assassin. If you truly thought highly of me in any capacity, you would not think that I am only seeking power. All I care about is the future of the land of Yerrig. So a violent coup is the best path forward? Yes.
You gotta, I guess, respect his honesty.
Because our Victorian friend sits in a position that cannot be reached except through violence. What you say is true, Sir Encetes. The unarmed Vinebead Court, driven to despair by the descendants of Victorians and their acolytes, helpless to defend themselves even when thieves cry thief in front of them. Behavior determines identity better than blood. It is a fact that since the attack on Encia, people at the court have been falling over themselves to back Victoria. If you are so confident, you know what I'm waiting for. The cleric and the Victorian spy caught red-handed together. Be it for the general public or the three clans, the rest speaks for itself. I know no more about the conduct of these clerics than you do. Even if the Duke of Castor were to come here herself, she would only tell you that I firmly rejected her offer. That is nothing more than an excuse. A failure to control your subordinates means you are equally responsible for them, and the same applies to Carlin trade. What you suggest is that the clergy of the court indulge in pleasure and collude with foreigners while I remain oblivious and allow them to sell out Yerrig? You and Victoria share many of the same delusions. In reality, the court has only ever wanted to use this as a pretext to expel Victoria. and their true ally, Enciade's Silver Ash. However, the reality is that they ended up aligning with Victoria in practice. All the clergy who've associated with Victoria have sworn an oath of death after you are expelled.
Wow.
Their bones will nourish Eric's future, and they will leave no regrets behind. So, what you propose is that Yerrig should purge itself down to those who hunt Victorian spies to this day. Those who the Duke of Castor considers enemies. And that is the only way to defeat Victoria. There is nobody around. A sudden gust of wind suddenly howls through the unfamiliar courtyard. Carolyn continues to stir around her piping hot cup of savory milk tea, the spoon continuing to clink against the cup. She shudders in anticipation, either due to the drink or her impending evacuation. She stares at the swirling tea and strokes the cup, completely ignorant to the fact that the cup is engraved with Yerrig's mountain ridges. Her thoughts are interrupted by a knock on the door. Who is it? Stay back. Sorry to keep you waiting, young lady of Victoria. It's you. Please pardon my intrusion, but due to the situation changing, you will be transferred to a new destination ahead of schedule. What? What happened? I only know the gist of the Vinebead Court's decision. The gist isn't good enough. We need to have a concrete plan of action, or else. I will take full responsibility for the operation until you have safely left Yerrig's borders. All you need to do is follow the instructions. As for how to leave and who will help you, don't overly concern yourself about such things. Yerrigander witnesses all, and she shall walk with us. Stop trying to fool me with your vague and nondescript dogma. Bye, Yerrigander. In other words, I've become your responsibility now, right? I am but a follower of her will. Fine, if you have your beliefs and I have mine. But since we'll be working together, I'll remind you that if this operation fails, your side will also be exposed. That's right. Does that not worry you at all? The cleric simply smiles gently and takes a garment out from his bag. No, young lady, all I need is faith. You can also place your faith in us as long as we are the one of heart. We can overcome our fear. Cleric of the Vinebead Court, I don't think we need to discuss this any further. Instead, let's focus on something useful, like when we leave. My apologies, young lady. This is a cleric's robe and I stowed myself. Please, put it on for now. This journey will take you past many people and countless eyes. If you encounter someone who comes up to you seeking prayer or answers, do not try to please them, stay silent and avoid them. I will walk with you no matter what dangers we may face. Color me curious. Why do people pray to your god for protection even after a catastrophe? Just in case. Believe me, young lady, you know too little about Yerrig. Now please pack your belongings. I will wait for you outside. The door opens and a dry, cold wind rushes in, lashing at the cleric's neck and face. An old dagger slips from his bag, and he nonchalantly bends down to pick it up. He knows exactly what this amulet forged for him by his father, who has returned to Yerrigander, will ultimately be used for. Bye, Yerrigander. May this devout body be blessed, and may it spread your holy will. They brought excellent seeds to Yerrig as well as machinery. The Vinebead Court has never denied these contributions. To be frank, I have never seen anyone so complicated in my already withering life. Hero. This does not dispel my doubts. Compared to these acts, the Vinebead Court seems only to recognize friend and foe based on where they come from. Then allow me to ask you a question first, Sir Enciades. In your heart of hearts, what exactly is Yerrig? I have already answered this through my actions. Victorian-style buildings, Victorian-style weapons, Victorian-mandated laws. Is this your answer? Unless we choose to seclude ourselves deeper within the mountains, shunning both external disturbances and any further advancement. Otherwise, you might even be able to see things from Laterano or Latanya one day. Until one day the people of Yerg believe in nothing but orange genuine money, unless faith itself can be sold. Once the shell of Yaragander is ripped open, the people shall no longer hold any reverence for eternity. They will only chase after their own values and desires. They will hate the strong because in this new theater, the more one abandons his morality, the stronger he becomes. They will hate the weak because the weak will come to occupy the crevices of pity and charity. Nihilism will become the most popular ideology. The people's hearts will become empty and detached, and they will take pride in this emptiness. Your ideals of slaughtering the people of Yerrig, turning Victoria's present into our future. The Yergander and the court worships, or the Yergander that the court worships is far more fragile than the one I worship. If all it takes to overthrow our sacred beliefs are a few foreign tools, then how has Mount Carlin stood to this day? How could it be that foreign tools can cover our mountains and rivers, yet foreign ideas can never be touched? If this is what you believe, then you must have also admit that what can conquer the body can also conquer the soul. Born into a dark and hopeless era, you must race faster than the clouds to avoid being swallowed by the darkness. Faith should not drive people to become accustomed to the darkness, but rather unwaveringly affirm the yearning for light. Yet the more pious one is, the more destitute he becomes. In due time, he will see piety as a noose, and begin to hate the history of faith itself. Which is why those who adhere to the teachings of Yaragander are ridiculed as pedantic and ignorant. Without turning on the tap, there is no clean drinking water. Without applying chemical fertilizers, there is no fertile farmland. You leveled the mountains and forests to build your factories, then sent the displaced back to the ruins of their homes to sell their labor. Or die. The lives you've improved for some are fed by the happiness you stole from others. O eloquent Grandmaster, I ask you, how should we deal with the stragglers left in your wake? You're right. It is a heavy responsibility that I must accept. However, the Vinebead Court only fantasizes about incremental change while continuing to regard doing nothing as a virtue. Such people have no right to judge me. I have never sought to block Yerrick's progress. My only responsibility is to pull the reins on self-important tourists before things spiral out of control. You're moving too quickly, Sergeant CIDs. The way to format the Yaragander, the way to punctuate prayer passages, which hand to raise during rituals, are debates that can last for centuries. Elder of Clan Browntail, you have both the talent and the platform, and yet you only yearn for the solace of the other shore. Yet when you hide away in the Hall of Writings and philosophize from your armchair, do you know anything about where Yerrig is actually headed? What I know is that Yerrig would never let an apostate take the helm, and I have never been one to philosophize from my armchair. You are not the first apostate I've dealt with. What memories come to mind when you hear the names Olafur and Elizabeth Silverash? What?
This bloody weather again, damn it. Why is there a traffic jam in a place like this? Hey, you in the back, the road's about to get real bumpy. If you want to be able to stand after getting out of the truck, I'd recommend taking a nap now and conserving your energy. Inside the rear compartment, the lights flicker as the truck sways. The passengers trying to escape sit upright on their haystacks, eyes tightly shut. Shit, what's that thing in front of me? Oh. An oil slick spills across the middle of the road, and in front of the stopped truck is a line of fully armed men. The engine emits a strange, strained noise, and the windows are splattered with paint. Inside the driver's seat, the Victorian tightly grips the steering wheel.
I've never tried to hide where I come from, even though it's something others have long forgotten. Luca Browntail, Retatus's and Cyrus's grandfather, my cousin. In order to achieve the same goal, we accepted different fates to safeguard Eric's order, the Tri-Clan Council and the Vine Bead Court. Though known for his ruthlessness, he still harbored fantasies about the Silver Ash until the very end. He said a peaceful resolution is never impossible, as long as the couple are willing to make concessions. But I have never lived in fantasy.
Oh, that train accident.
Is that what you believe? Or did Retatos make you believe it? How many clergymen and devotees do you think are out there among the commoners? If the masses wish for Yergander to punish the apostates, and I, serving as the court, shall deliver on those wishes. Servant Ceades, the man who killed your parents is right in front of you. Those who commit murder will be punished twice over by Yergander. This crippled body has lost any meaning for me long ago. I grant you permission to dispose of me as you wish for reasons private and public. Not for treason, but for murder. Arrest me here and put me on trial. Let the people of Yerrick see just how sinful it is to kill an apostate.
The old man wobbles to his feet, his withered fingers clenching into a fist as if using all his strength. Suddenly he stretches an arm out before Ceades. Like a sinner waiting to have his confession heard, his cloudy eyes shine with a glimmer of light, as if seeking to quench decades of old grudges with another's anger. Ceades slowly closes his eyes, his fingertips wrapping tightly around his cane.
If you're trying to provoke me from acting out of line, I'm afraid your efforts are in vain. I won't lay a finger on you here. All I can do is ensure that you receive a fair trial.
Well, he didn't kill the person I thought he did, but he did kill people.
How nostalgic. The situation is crystal clear.
Whoever said a wheelchair couldn't get up onto a steel beam?
They sure are wanting to spam the avalanche.
Target the sun.
Probably it's no use. Standing by.
That poor turtle. Does he ever flip back? Snow Cap. Takes root. Reduces damage taken and protects all units behind it from avalanches. What do you mean there's just a tree creature?
Real estate question. This wonderful realm or broad sky shattering?
Go ahead. Target.
Yeah,
Design.
he did.
If I will flee, it's no use.
Finally, am I up?
Did it just protect all of those guys? How does that work? That's one guy. He's not even near them.
If I will flee, it's no use.
Standing by.
I'm in position. Who would bear the news of your death? Ever crossed your mind?
If I will flee, it's no use.
Standing by.
Rocket gospel. Flurry.
I wonder what the boss is. Now that I think about it.
Go ahead.
What are we fighting even? I don't even know.
Ever crossed your mind?
It's clearly not going to be an alien. There was no UFO in the hangar, unfortunately.
Flurry.
Standing by.
Victoria, yeah, but there's no like Victorian character unless the diplomat rips off his shirt and he's got like nanomachines underneath it.
I'm in position. I'm in position. Target disarmed. Mission accomplished.
Unless we fight Harold again for some reason. Hurry up! You in the back, keep up! Our intel indicates that the target should be around here. Search carefully and leave no stone unturned. After that woman left the room, an unknown amount of time passed, to the point that time itself seemed alien to Munch. Only the stinging pain of the ropes tightly binding her reminds her that she has not yet lost consciousness. Finally, a hopeful sound comes from behind the door, and Munch musters what might she has left to shout out. I'm over here. But try as she might, her parched throat can hardly produce a sound. She laboriously crawls towards the door. It opens. Munch. Madam, why are you here? We've been searching for you ever since the catastrophe hit. That damned Silver Ash, pretentious bastard. Thought they actually had some useful intel, but in the end, I still ended up having to do all the legwork myself to find you. How are you doing? You hurt anywhere? Wait, your leg. I'm fine. Madam, listen to me. The researcher I've been tracking, she's from Victoria. More importantly, she's got ties to Columbia. What they're really after is... Punch! Punch! Is that the thing that Insidious wrote? The letter thing? The fake invitation? Was that intel of where to find her? Along the narrow mountain path, the convoy slowly plods onwards. After the incident, sudden outbreak, no shortage of people left their cars to observe the conflict's epicenter.
Turn off the engine and get out.
What do you think you're doing? Who the hell are you people? I'm an industrial investigator dispatched from Victoria. This is an illegal obstruction of official business. You've damaged our property, endangered Victorian lives, and almost even caused an accident. Mark my words, the court will hear of this. Never should have come to this bloody shithole.
Are you done? Did you get all the pictures?
Yes, sir.
There is no time for you to try to twist the narrative, Victorian. Just cooperate. Open up the rear compartment. I'm unwilling to cooperate, fine by me. You're more than welcome to conserve your energy to fend for yourselves before the court if you're cold. I can offer you a blanket.
Matterhorn waves his hand and the guard pries open the rear compartment without a word. Seated upright upon a haystack, there is an old cleric. He brushes the dust off his body and walks out. It is an emotionless affair, hardly amounting to courage. The old cleric gazes upon the blinding brightness before him and recollects the scene before some 10 minutes ago. Why did the truck stop? Have we arrived? Carolyn lowers her voice. Did something happen? Stay calm, young lady. Did they find us?
I didn't expect to find you here, cleric of the Vinebead Court. Let us continue this conversation elsewhere. This place is less than ideal.
You are as hasty as always, young master of Clan Edelweiss.
Honorable friends of Clan Silverash, I apologize for disturbing your work during this inclement weather. I am more glad to go along with your arrangements. Looks like the one we're after isn't here.
I do believe this is where we part ways, young lady from Victoria. Are you getting off? No, I'll stay here. Just keep walking forward and don't look back. The entrance isn't far off. Silverash's people will surely notice this truck. Get out of here before they find you. Aye, Aragander, trust me. The old cleric helps Carolyn down. Or up, even. I'll do as you said. But you'll also be exposed. That too is Yaragander's will. What I cannot change, I shall therefore accept. I ask only for her forgiveness. I can't say I understand what your beliefs truly are, but maybe someday I will. I respect your beliefs. I'll also try and find a way to live in peace. Best of luck to you, sir. Carolyn gets out of the truck and runs without stopping in the direction leading far from Yaragander. Shedding her stained cleric robe, she shivers from the cold. Alone, she walks through the vast, pale mountainscape. until in the distance a dark tunnel entrance beckons to her. Through the telescope's lens, Gnosis sees the mysterious scientist step into the shadows. Arrest these two and have them sent straight to the court. I've brought one. I'm afraid I cannot grant your wish, Great Elder. Upon hearing their long-awaited voice, Ensuite stands up and walks past the old man, who remains frozen like a wooden sculpture. Gnosis executed the plan. The Chakatka deployed immediately on his signal. Before the presence of these wraiths, the clerics could do nothing but stumble back into their abodes, their tender faces affixed with fear. I'm one of the clerics. You cannot treat me like this. Shut up and stop resisting. Master Frey is here too, please help me. The one just brought in was the once arrogant envoy of the Vinebead court. His gaze sweeps over the shouting cleric and he shakes his head. Father Frey, I believe I can now explain your actions. Victoria's agents conspired with the court's clerics to smuggle spies out of the country through the mine railway, but were caught red-handed thanks to Carlin trade. And before that, you were assisting the Victorians with scouring the mine site, premeditated ill intent. And lest you forget, you protected the suspect following Ratatus's funeral. You will formally be put on trial for these crimes. By Erikander, forgive him, for he knows not what he speaks. It is a fact that spies have infiltrated the court. I urge you not to resist. Cooperation with our investigation is the only path to leniency. Take Great Elder Adso, Father Frey, and the other elders of the court away for questioning. The other clerics are to remain here awaiting their summons. Yes, sir. Now then, Great Elder Adso.
Havash, do you think you've won? Those who live by the blade will find their arrogance short-lived. I wonder just how long will your arbitrary reign of terror last?
Without making any unnecessary movements, Adso gives a slight nod to the crowd and slowly walks to the door. Great Elder, what should we do?
Survive. The rest is already written in the scriptures. I have nothing else to say. You are her servants, and whatever happens, you must act according to your conscience.
Take him away. By Erikander, may the guilty receive their fair trial. This is an abandoned mine shaft. The torches and tunnels lights won't work anymore. Bend down carefully and watch your head. If we wrap around the side, we should be able to make it. Ugh. Watch out. Come over first. Watch your step. Joanna shifts her feet, and several rocks tumble down the cave. The sounds of dislodged pebbles echoing through the cracks and crevices as they fall. She shudders. So deep, you'd probably turn into a stain on the ground if you fell from this height. Damn those Victorians for causing trouble in the mines. Else we wouldn't have to come this way. Huh. Saintus, what are you looking at? There's a light ahead. It must be the path leading to the main ore vein. Come, let's hold hands like before. We are just a few steps shy of our answer. We mustn't run into danger here. Soon we will find all of our answers. Would it be in the... did it go through the mountain? Wouldn't it be on the surface? The map is illuminated by the flickering light of the oil lamp. They hardly converse, moving forward in silence, their steps filled with both fear and anticipation. But eventually the search comes to an end. Are you sure this is the right place? Might we have made a mistake? No, I'm sure of it. This is the mine I previously calculated and located. There's no way this could be the wrong place. But... what are you two talking about? This is the place we're looking for, yeah? According to my plan, we should be able to find an oranginium vein here. My deduction can be proven correct, if and only if it exists. I guess they're not looking for the meteorite. But this place is an ore iron mine. What? I've investigated and analyzed everything. These are all just ordinary ore iron deposits. There's no chance they're related to catastrophe. Let alone any trace of extraterrestrial objects. Where did we go wrong? But why? We clearly saw a bunch of trucks transporting oranginium on our way here. How could this all be ore iron? It doesn't take long for Enya to grasp the schemes of the man bonded to her by blood. Indeed, we came to the wrong place. The mineral vein here is not the heart of Carlin, but rather the bones of Yerrig. The bones that uphold Yerrig's spine. May I say something? The heart of Carlin is a pure core that validates faith. Man's eyes, ears, mouth, nose, and hands can deceive, and only the heart cannot. Such is written in the Yaragander. But I don't think we're being unfaithful or impious. We all know how much we've done. And surely she must know too. Just like how, given everything on the hunt, only to come up empty-handed and go hungry through the night. But we must have faith. Faith in the land of Yarrig. Faith in Yaragander's protection. She promised us that as long as we have our two hands, we shall not starve or freeze to death in Yarrig's land. So, great Santis, come, let's try again. Try what? Use your bell to call Yaragander. That sweet bell, the sound of the saintess who played to awaken Yaragander. The clear sound beloved to her, the sound that is her call. So it says in the Yaragander that birds and beasts wearing this bell will not be snatched away by wild beasts. They shall not fall ill, or die young, and shall find their way back home, should they ever be lost. For one's heart to be astray is to be lost too. I don't totally get what it means, but I heard from one of the clerics at the Vinebead Court. Smile. Unlike her two dejected companions, the girl shows no sign of discouragement and is eager to try again. That's right. We should keep trying. Perhaps Yargander will respond to us. The silver bell rings out on high, its engraved patterns shimmering beneath the hazy light of the miner's lamps. She tried to call out like this before, at the Vinebead Court, in her bedroom, among her books, while resting among the snow-capped mountains. Ring, ring. The clear, cold sound of the silver bell echoes through the empty cave. Well, that's... This sound, this frequency, why does it sound so alike? Did you discover something? That frequency,
The echoes of your bell throughout the cave sounds just like the one audio recording from the observatory, almost identical even. Is that just a coincidence? A coincidence? No. In nature, no two snowflakes are exactly alike. Say, Saintus, where exactly did that bell come from? That would require going back to very ancient legends. In Yerrig history, there was a long span of time where Yergander fell into deep slumber until she was awoken by a devout Saintess. It was Yergander's gift to that Saintess. I've also heard that when subsequent craftsmen made bells for the Saintesses, they sought to imitate the sound of the mountains. The sounds of the mountain? What kind of mountain could make sound?
A Farenmut mountain.
A Farenmut. Impossible. How could that be? Snap out of it, Elena. You're a scientist. How could you let your faith falter at a time like this? Elena, are you saying that on the day before the catastrophe, something fell into Mount Carlin, thus creating that sound? Based on my previous conjectures, yes. So think about it this way. If we think of the mountain as a huge bell, doesn't that mean that there's probably a huge hollow inside it? Theoretically speaking, that would be possible, but do you know where a massive hollow like that could exist? There is rumor, not recorded in Yerrig's official history, and it also happens to be related to the Saintess who awakened Yerrigander. A long, long time ago, there once was an uprising against the Vine Bead Court in Yerrig. The people had grown dissatisfied because Yerrigander had not performed any miracles in a long time, and so they marched upon the court. Their wrath was only quelled when the Saintess awakened the sleeping deity. During the chaos, a number of clerics took their precious scriptures and took refuge within Mount Carlin, therefore preserving some of their valuable knowledge. Yet regardless, the classic works of the court still suffered a break in continuity around that time. What if the account of Yerrigander leaving her people within the scriptures is actually a depiction of this event? Great Saintess, if this sanctuary truly exists, will we find traces of Yerrigander there? Where would we even look? Behind the Vinebead Court, the place leading to Mount Carlin's summit.
Inya tightly grips the silver bell in her hand. She seems to hear the wind and the snow as well as the footsteps that would occasionally shadow her while she worked at the court. Whose voice was that? Who was calling to her from behind? Who would pat her on the shoulders and bring honeyed system milk to her while she was burning the midnight oil to organize her scriptures? All she can hear and see is the pure white snow that never stops blowing with the wind.
O Yerrigander on high, please grant us your guidance. May the path we walk be true.
I hope we find. That'd be actually. I didn't think about it, but I hope now that we'd be cool to see Yerrig get her real body. If it's like Grinning Valley, where it's just like a giant eyeball, I'm here for it. A cleric from the Vinebead Court, in collusion with Victorian agents, stole important military intelligence and was arrested yesterday. Great Elder Odso confessed to some of these allegations and agreed to fully cooperate with the investigation. During this time, all activities of the court are to be suspended. There is considerable evidence suggesting that the Victorian agents are involved in a string of unusual natural and social phenomena. Carlin Trade is also assembling scientific researchers to assess the possibility of an espionage-related catastrophe. As a reminder to all citizens of Yerrig, if any foreign national approaches you under the guise of offering charity, business venture, or gathering news, please be extremely vigilant. See, that's what I was thinking. I was like, what if nothing actually happened and the Victorians just caused the avalanche?
I knew it. The Great Elder and that Victorian Duke are in cahoots. Look at those bastards have brought upon us.
Couldn't it just be one big misunderstanding? Even the Vinebeat court has betrayed Yargander, my goodness.
They've been mucking around with the Victorians and you still give them the benefit of the doubt?
But hasn't the Carlin trade you seem to trust so much been dealing with Victoria this whole time?
The only one reason you can ever hear all this on the radio is thanks to Carlin Trade. What about the court? What have they ever done for you?
Stop bickering. Victorian Broadcasting has a response. Shut up and listen.
I don't give a damn what they have to say.
I need to make sense of all of this. Sir Wilson, you are highly respected by Her Grace the Duke, as well as an expert on the Yerrick affair. We would like to ask you, how should we interpret the attitude displayed by Enceadus Silverash? I see it as nothing more than a way of quelling the public discontent in Yerrick. Enceadus has always been a close partner to Victoria. Don't you find that somewhat difficult to believe? Even based on publicly available information, it is an indisputable fact that Victoria has been the primary beneficiary of many of the trade contracts strongly spearheaded by Enceadus himself. With the help of Carlin Trade, Yerrick's development has almost entirely come off the back of Victoria's aid, from the import of breeding beasts and fertilizers to railway technology, and even orangenium processing. In return, Enceadus has committed to handing over more than 40% of Yerrick's natural resources to Victoria's development. Not long ago, Carlin Trade has also handed over a mining site that has been being worked on by Kaji Mersh to the Duke of Castor. And it seems that Enceadus is trying to maintain an attitude of ambiguity. That being the case, are you not worried that his attempts to soothe the public will anger the Duke? Lest you forget, Enceadus is the Duke's grandnephew, and the blood of Castor flows in his veins. A delicate understanding between him and the Duke is, without a doubt, difficult for outsiders to grasp. What you may not know is that even while he issued a statement, he also submitted a new mining agreement to the Duke, who has already signed and returned it. I expect a joint announcement on this matter in a short time. I've obtained the key points of this agreement and would like to share them with you here. You take a look at these graphs, good sir. Carlin Trade is willing to entrust 100% of future mining rights to the foundation established jointly with the Duke of Castor. This truly is just the tip of the iceberg. Look at what comes next.
Nonsense.
The young reporter is startled by the volume of her outburst. She instinctively reaches to pat her bulging backpack before turning around. Seeing the empty streets makes her let out a heavy sigh.
Phew, looks like they won't be able to catch up to me. Camera, recorder, film, prints. Everything's here. This time I won't let them take these away.
She then looks at the statue of Yargander in the distance, pulls down the brim of her hat, and walks towards the city's center.
After hard work comes a good night's rest. The Sanctus decrees it so.
We about to be saved by an investigative journalist? Love to see it.
Alright, proclamation. What people believe depends on what they see and hear, thus the art of deception is born.
this new one? While deployed, protects all units behind the avalanches and retreats from the field after an avalanche occurs. That could be good. Yeah, I'd still probably would go for the first one, but I'll try this one out, I guess. If only so I don't have to have my units move around a lot. The empty silence leaves one feeling colder than ever. The reporter's heavy bag slows her down, her footsteps upon the snow clear for all to see. Less people than before, even here. Miss, sorry to bother you. Can I ask you a few quick questions? About? Right now, Carlin Trade. I'd rather not have to hear that name. Sir Insuities needs to come out and go over why he signed those agreements already. Resources for development? What rubbish. All we got for our resources was a catastrophe. How is he going to explain that, huh? By the time the reporter finishes digesting the lady's angry words, she has already long since left with a swish of her cloak. Excuse me, sir.
Ah, you're the one of those reporters from Victoria? Yerrick's not been the kindest place lately, even us locals prefer holding up at home. You must take care.
It's times like these where I can't be afraid, otherwise I'm not fit to hold this camera. But thanks for the heads up. Anyhow, what I'd like to know is, how do you see Insuities right now, in your honest opinion?
Sorry, Biz, I think he's cheated Yerrick. The Victoria's worth doubting, too. I've seen how big the changes here have been these past few years. If you said Insuities hasn't had any difficulty making those changes, then I'd say you're wrong. If only the great elder of the court would come out and say a few words, it'll all be fine.
A stone flies right past the tip of the reporter's nose all of a sudden, smashing the store window behind her. Get out of here, Victorian scum! Insuities, Divine Bead Court, us? We all got nothing to do with you. Still got the stones to take pictures? Get the Fane off our land already. Nothing has left her with complicated feelings more than this moment. She has seen the ordinary people of Yerrick slowly becoming more mistrustful, more on edge. Yet she has also seen once trusted members of the camera crew sneak into her room to inspect her drafts and camera over and over. Oh, okay, that's what she was talking about earlier, I see. As the man picks up yet another stone, she bows goodbye to her interviewee and runs away from the scene. Seems her only choice is to escape. But escape to where? Are you a Victorian, miss? Hello there. Do you hate Victoria? Nope, I don't. A dirty little hand reaches out to her with a piece of stale Victorian bread sitting in the palm. But my papa told me to throw these all away. He said he wouldn't have any Victorian charity in our house. Then, but Yerrigander taught us to love our neighbors and repay kindness with kindness. So I wanted to give it back to you. What a good kid. As she watches the child hurry away, the reporter feels as if the dry bread in her hand is choking her throat. Her eyelids tremble and she clenches her teeth. And then she got hit in the head again.
Get her in the car. Don't let anyone see.
That is the last thing she remembers hearing before she loses her consciousness. It's Harold. Sorry for bothering you with yet another visit, Mr. Silver Ash. Perhaps you'd rather see seeing some of the other pretty face during all this hubbub.
There's no need to be so humble. Yerg is indebted to you for your care, and I had hoped for the chance to express my gratitude.
Hardly. It seems my long-awaited return has left me awash with churning emotion once more. I would like nothing more than to be the bearer of good news every time I come over, but before throwing my old bones into the mountains for some peace and quiet. But life is a fickle thing, and it depends. We improvise, does it not?
I do believe you are here to give some bad news, Lord Viscount, but not in the name of Castor.
I'd rather not get mixed up with that old lady's affairs again. Though, based on what went on last time I was here, it's her who doesn't want to get mixed up with me.
With all that said, my lord.
Oh yes, on to the business. I know you're a busy man. I'm here to bid you farewell, Mr. Silver Ash.
If the recent shift in public opinion against Victoria has troubled you, then I can...
No, nothing of the sort. I had hoped against hope that old Castor was also reaching the age where she spoke from the heart. That tends to bring a bit more sweetness to the tongue, no? But as you can see, things have not come, or have come to this. Though I may seem a dotard these days, I still find myself compelled to ask you one thing. Is there truly no other way?
You know her plans involve more than just a few minds, my lord. From the moment she laid hands on Incia, this negotiation has become wholly unacceptable to me.
So how do you plan to handle her? Are you really prepared to cross swords with her?
You know better than I that if we do not keep the idea of crossing swords on the table, then Yerg may as well already be in her pocket.
Of course I do. Oh, what to say? Knowing how the old lady is, she will never let your little tiff go now that it's reached this stage. I'm truly worried for you and Sir Nceodes. Whatever shall you do next?
What is there to do but to seize the opportunity? Since you have mentioned her, you are also an old acquaintance of her grace, are you not?
Me? I hardly know her. A few years back, we'd chat about family matters, and she'd always grumble to me about how none of the young casters were worth a damn. The less useful they turn out to be, the more hasty she gets doing things. Who would have guessed that she was known as a complete enigma in her youth?
Oh, I had a brief encounter with her grace a decade or so ago. Her grandeur strikes me even now.
No need to butter her up to me. I am fully aware that her high and mighty noble posturing is something she can never change.
No matter how many schemes are brewing behind the scenes, one must always keep one's face haughty and dignified. Well, that's that. I'm sure your people are more urgent to things to trouble you with. I should be heading off right about now.
This talk of ours has been productive, my lord. I hope I will have a more suitable opportunity in the future to invite you to Yerrig.
Ha ha! Couldn't ask for better. Ah, yes. When you next see her grace, by no means tell her I've been calling her old behind her back.
I would never, Lord Viscount.
Attaboy! I, too, am really looking forward to the chance to visit Yerrig again.
Yes, nobody saw us. It was no trouble, matriarch. Your request is mine. I'll bring her over right away. Wakey wakey.
I was at...
Half a day's sleep not enough for you? Get up, your matriarch has things she wants to ask you.
What? Who brought me here? How long will it take you to learn a gentle touch?
I'm sorry, matriarch. She did fake her death, I knew it. Second day said, yeah, we didn't find her body though. I'm surprised she's still actually here though, so she's been working in the shadows. I figured maybe she fled. Is she gonna ask for her position back? Because that's kind of rude.
Hey, you awake yet? No thrashing about, unless you feel like the ropes around your wrists aren't chafing enough.
Retatos? Matriarch Retatos, I thought you were...
Not a single burn on me. Real surprising, isn't it? When you get the chance, tell your colleagues that when dealing with the Roundtails, best check the rooms for tricks.
My colleagues.
Be honest now, my little spy. What were you hoping to capture on that camera of yours all those days you were sneaking about?
Wait, what? No. You misunderstand me, madam. How can I be a spy?
Yeah. That's what all the other spies who got said too.
The guards rifled through the reporter's backpack and throw its contents onto the floor. The photos she has taken and developed the past few days.
We wouldn't care much about you if you take pictures of local traditions or even patrolling guards. But you didn't hesitate before taking a bunch of pictures of the Vineberry Court. You even went to a few mountains, clicking that shutter of yours. Don't think I don't know anything.
Matriarch Retatos, whether you believe me or not, I really am nothing more than a regular reporter.
Yeah, it's called investigative reporting.
If I was a spy, why would I be walking around with all this evidence on me? With all this chaos going on right now, I could have easily given it all to my colleagues at the TV station.
That's what you need to explain. Fact of the matter is, you were carrying a great deal of suspicious material and had a very strange itinerary. How do I know you weren't trying to flee?
Because I'm trying to protect that material. The Duke of Castor wants control over public opinion. The news office sent people to join the camera crew, and they've been sneaking into my room to edit my pictures. If I didn't try to get away, most of them would have been confiscated, maybe even used to misrepresent things here. Everything they do is to whitewash Victoria, trying to strong-arm its way into Yereg. If you think these pictures will be of any use to Yereg, you can have them all. I just want you to release them, to let more people know what's going on here. It doesn't need Victoria's support, but real, actual help. That might be tricky. Isn't Theodes able to take a call right now? He has more pressing matters to handle, so he sent me as support. After my lovely funeral, I handed the spies we captured over to him. According to our agreement, he was supposed to send backup. And in the end, he only sent one woman, even if she is the Black Knight. Not sure if I should call him generous or stingy here. So what's his plan for dealing with Castor? We're still gathering information on our enemy. I was also sent here to help with your interrogations. The most critical thing to find out is if this reporter has taken any photos of things in the mountains. Ah yes, our little friend here. I can untie your restraints, but first you need to promise me you'll answer all my questions. Does that sound alright to you?
Please, this is no time for excuses.
The situation is crystal clear.
Spring breeze, timely rain. Now we sow the grain.
A fine choice.
If you're really in clear skies for singing, rain clouds for gloom. Pray with all your heart.
You disrupt my idea.
She cannot be sought. Cold winds care not for whom they chill.
Cool that each of Prime Minister's attacks is like it's a different animation for
Okay, this is awkward, but I'm the only one.
each one. It makes it look like a little owl.
Now we sow the grain.
Makes it look like a little like a combo sort of system.
Right. What a ruckus.
Not expect that avalanche to one-shot Exia.
Easy peasy.
War. A word I
Oh.
haven't heard in a long, long
in time.
It will teleport the person through the wall. Huh. Did not expect that.
Flee, it's no use.
That's interesting. Okay.
Real estate question. This wonderful realm, or
Behold the power.
take like water. Maybe you didn't come straight to me. But don't forget to pay my fee straight away.
Right. Right. As expected.
That all you got?
Mission accomplished.
An empty office. Gnosis is unused to the site. He walks to his desk. Under his mug filled with steaming hot fresh coffee is a document with Insidious' signature. Letter of appointment. Would it have killed you to come over and say goodbye? It is signed. You know how risky this is. Minerals and land are inseparable. We shall bypass the Vinebeard Court and sign cooperative mining agreements with foreign nations ourselves. This will cause a lot of headache for us in the future. If we do not pay them their pound of flesh now to close the gap, they shall simply demand much more from us later. This is the lowest price we are able to bear. Your calculations are rather optimistic, Insidious. And you have always been less optimistic than I am, no matter the topic. Which means most times, you have been able to walk further than me. If it wasn't for that optimism of yours, I would not have the confidence to take a single step in the darkness. It has been a long while since I heard such praise from you. Go see our plans through, Gnosis. Everyone from middle management above is here. We can start the camera at any time. Begin recording. Yes, sir. What is today's announcement about? I have gathered you all here today to announce a major change in personnel. As of today, Insidious Silverash will no longer serve as chairman and CEO of Carlin Trade. Insidious admits sole responsibility for the recent occupational incidences and has resigned. The board of directors has already ratified his request. At the same time, the board has decided that I, Gnosis Edelweiss, shall take over all of Insidious' duties. Now, allow me to make the first proclamation of Carlin Trade's new era as a representative of the board, to all of our colleagues and to the people of Erig. Carlin Trade shall be ceasing all collaboration with Victoria. As for the many past agreements with that Insidious insisted on signing, they shall all be temporarily paused until the board has decided on further courses of action. At this extraordinary time, I ask all of our colleagues to work hard at their posts, to keep the development of Yerrig at the forefront of their minds and to sweep away the lingering problems of the past. Yerrig needs us. Huh.
Wake up, we're here for our shift.
Sure, took your time.
First time we've been here, hard to find the place. There's been a lot, this lot been much trouble.
Most of them aren't talking. Just mind the lead geezer.
Which one's he? Isn't the Vinebeard Court all geezers?
Everyone burst out in laughter before heading off, leaving just the 2 guards to take their shift.
You should ease up a bit.
How could you disrespect the elders like that? You're a Yerg too, right?
Still sticking up for him. It was this bunch of Shistrak who got us into this mess.
Shade, you got a death wish? The 2 guards look towards Elder Odso as he sits within his cell. He is focused on the thick tome in his hands, playing with a corner of the page as he thinks. All's good.
What are you so afraid of? They've been talking big for centuries now, but it's not like the courts managed to flip Yerrig upside down, have they?
They're the Vikors of Yerrigander. Even if you don't respect the elders, you should still respect her.
What's the court done that a guy like me needs to respect them? When my mom was sick, the clerics picked up some grass for her to eat, made me pray to the grass, saying it would bring Yerrigander's protection. In the end, we brought her to one of Carlin's doctors. He told me if we had kept going with the cleric's treatment plan, she would have lasted another day. I'd say the real Vicar is Sir Enceades. The scholar known as Jurgen was an ardent follower of her and did much good. Out of resentment, evil men accused him of stealing courtly coin, and he was to be put to death a few days hence. Jurgen's limbs were bound tight, and at night he heard the clattering of soldiers' swords. He knew his death was near in his heart. He was anguished.
This is because I found which geezer to look out for. The guard raises his baton as he approaches Adso's cell, striking the bars over and over. Adso does not stop his recitation as he looks at the guards calmly.
Hey, Greybeard, shut your mouth while you're in that cell. Think about how you're going to explain all the sins to Yergander when you meet her. Jurgen looked up but saw no light. In his futility, he knelt upon the straw lining his cell in supplication to her. O righteous Yergander, have I not done good in your name? Have I not sought truth in your name? Do good men die in your kingdom while the unjust bring salvation? Or gain salvation? Why do the lawmakers only hear absurd falsities? Why do the people I saved stand in unspeaking silence? Slishdrack, have you no shame, you traitor? I'm gonna teach you a lesson.
The guard puts down his baton before taking out his key to open the cell door, though it keeps missing the keyhole as his right hand trembles with rage.
Oh, Yergander, though my body may be trapped in jail, my soul still seeks your mercy. Whilst my eyes can still see and my ears can still hear, stretch out your righteous hands to me.
I swear today is going to be the last day you can even open a copy of the Yergander.
What have I done? I heard another guard. You have done well, my child. Our divine duty is not limited to the 3 clans, the Saintus, or the Vinebeard Court. All children of Yerg must be ready to carry out her will at any time, just like you did. I remember Jurgen the Confessor. When I was young, I was lost in the snowy mountains. Just as I was about to black out, a cleric saved me. When we were on his burden beast, he took off his coat and wrapped it tight around me, telling me the story of Jurgen and how Yergander will save all the innocents. Where are the other clerics imprisoned, my child? Nearby. Find an opportunity to free them. Let them escape, then save yourself. Conflict brews atop the mountains. The Vine-Bee Court shall rebuild everything upon the ruins. Allow me to tell you the end of the tale of Jurgen the Confessor.
Okay, well, I mean, some of those guys are actually traitors, though. Halt! Don't force my hand, Great Elder. We are armed and we will not allow anyone to leave.
I will walk by you. If you insist on using bows and crossbows to run counter to her will, then aim at your own hearts. Try it.
You. The guards who rushed over to look at their comrades with raised eyebrows as they form two lines. Many of them have chosen to stow their weapons, opening up a narrow passage. Utsu lowers his head as he walks to the guards, leaving behind faint footprints in the snow. As the words left Jurgen's mouth, the entire jail began to sway as wind and snow entered through the cracks. The walls around the imprisoned devotee were as rotten trees, shattering to dust as his body was enveloped in blinding light. The soldiers were thrown to the ground, their weapons shattered, but they themselves were unharmed. They prostrated themselves at Jurgen's feet, weeping as they confessed their sins. Jurgen the Confessor then walked the lands of the three clans, preaching his miracle the rest of his life. And thus Jerigander stretches her hand to those who call to her to enact her justice. She has slowly lost all sensation in her joints as her shoes sink in the soft snow, step after step after step, yet her legs do not stop moving, even as she gulps lungfuls of frigid air.
Yeah. Who's,
There is the vague shape of people in the distance. They draw closer to her, but the lights flashing before her eyes make her unable to recognize them.
You.
We've been ordered to receive you, Madam Caroline, though there should be others with you here.
They got taken by the locals.
There any issues with the intelligence?
You can tell Her Grace that the power hiding behind Yerrig has disappeared. I've observed and recorded the fall of some extraterrestrial object to the surface. The ensured catastrophe is further proof of my conclusion.
Whether it's the energy field theory or the Fahrenheit hypothesis, it explains the changes that happened to Yerrig.
Take this folder. All my researches to several hypotheses about Yerrig is in it. You can...
What the? Very sorry, madam. Did you really believe you could hide your personal communications with the Maylander Foundation from us? She's a double agent! I wasn't wrong. When I called her Maylander the first time. Her Grace has asked us to bring back only the data. I believe she is very interested in the fact that Yerrick has lost its protection.
You... extraterrestrial objects, Fahrenheit legends. There are still so many marvelous things we don't know the truth about across this great land. But all you care about is deception, robbery, and murder. Everything else is worthless to you. If I didn't need you to escape from Yerrig, I would never work with people like you.
I shall pass on your complaint to Her Grace verbatim. Goodbye, madam. Thank you for your patriotic service. She sighs deeply, unsure of whom she is actually feeling sorry for. A smoke grenade. Enemy attack, look for cover. The night is enveloped in smoke and gunfire, leaving the snowfield in utter chaos. Gunfire? Did I say gunfire? Did. At least until black off-roader courses Out of the smoke, in its wake are the Victorian agents futilely shooting at the vehicle as it drives into the distance. Maylanders. Sorry to put you through that, Carolyn. Had to take our time so the Victorians wouldn't spot us. Got all your stuff? She lowers her head, pulling out a marked file on the extraterrestrial object from the various documents before handing it to the agent sitting in the front of her seat. So, when can I start my research? No need to be so hasty, miss. My boss wants to have a chat with you first. He's really interested in hearing what you're studying. I think you'll be working with us for a long, long time. Carolyn nods her head before she suddenly realizes something. She never had the chance to actually hand over Victoria's Yerrig report. She rolls down the card window, heedless to the cold wind blowing in. She takes out the papers she so painstakingly wrote in Yerrig, one after the other, and throws them out the window with nary a moment's hesitation. The paper is all the more white under the black night, like fresh snow falling upon the wilds. They spin through the air, buoyed by cold wind and political maelstrom both. Here's your things back, Victoria.
The light of Carlin was shining on us.
Fun, fun, fun. And that's a perfect stopping point, really. Can't do one more. There's two interludes, 2 levels. I'll do them tomorrow. I did not expect Odso to be to escape prison though. I wonder like what that really means. It's hard to like have a side in it. I mean, my side is the side of the people of Yerrig, I guess, right? And Ciades is a dictator. The court I don't know if the court their whole plan was, oh, we can like use Victoria to deal with him and then we can like purge everyone who helped us do that and then we'll be free, but I don't think that would work. And I do think that's still also against ultimately what Inya is working towards. So I don't know if Otso actually will help Yerrig move into the future. So I guess Inya is the best side, really. But him escaping prison, I mean, he did admit to murder. So he probably shouldn't have escaped prison. Probably shouldn't like that. We don't know much about the Silver Ash parents, though. Besides him calling them apostates.
Doctor, want a drink?
And then also Silver Ash stepped down, so I'm not sure what his plan is. I mean, I guess he stepped down from Carlin Trade. I mean, I guess he's still the head of the clan, right? But yeah, I guess he's still the head of the clan, so he can still do stuff through that. We'll see. Finish it up tomorrow. That's all for today. Thank you all for watching. And until we meet again, may the sands of time treat you well.